Hi guys, and welcome to the Agatebay workshop in Dresden. Today I want to take you through the entire process of cutting some stones, and then we are going to drive to my polisher directly to see after the cut how they actually get shiny. I had a lot of comments asking about this process, so my polisher lives about 1.5 hours away, and we're just going to cut these 4 rocks and then head out right to where his workplace is. So I mined these 4 Malawi agates last year in December, and all of these are showing already some pretty good windows with some great color schemes, so these should turn out pretty good, and I'm going to cut all of these right now and then show you the result of what they look like cut, and then after that yeah, we are getting them polished. Hopefully there's enough time, and yeah, we can get that all done today.
Ein guter. Wow. Das ist wirklich gut. Wow. Das ist auch gut. Sieht auch gut aus. Ja, super. Ja, sehr, sehr schön. Wow. Auch gut. Das sieht man jetzt noch nicht so gut, aber der hat hier auch ein paar kleine Risse drin. Aber später, wenn der dann ausgetrocknet ist, dann kommen die Risse auch besser raus und dann sieht man die Risse leider auch etwas mehr. Also hier diese Sektion.
Hi guys, so we are right now in front of my polisher's workshop. It's a really nice wooden house, and it's called Schauwerkstätt'l, and we just already gave the 4 pairs to the lady who's polishing. It's a woman, so males and females enjoy doing the work with these, and she already started working right behind me, and I would say she just started with the rough grinding, so let's just go in and follow up a little bit with the process and show you a little bit through the entire process of how these are being grinded and then in the end polished. She said it's a little bit of a secret on the exact steps of the grinding powder. So the rough grinding usually starts with a grinding grit of silicon carbide with 80 or 120 grit. One of my polishers even start with 220 grit, but it also kind of depends on how good the cut on the stone is. So if the cut is a little bit rough and edgy, then you would start with a lower grit. If it's a little bit better cut, then you will start with a higher grit, which is like a little bit finer powder to start off with. And she just started with the rough grinding, and we will take you through all of the steps of the grinding and polishing, so you can see the final result of the stones in the end. Alright, let's go in. As we are in the building, we are starting directly with the rough grinding. Cindy didn't want to tell me exactly which powder she starts with the beginning, but I believe it's probably one of the rougher grinding. As you can also hear it with the sound, it is a little bit loud in the beginning, and she uses a small brush to take the pastry that she used water in combination with the silicon carbide to put it in the center of the plate, and then she moves the stone from the center to the outside, back to the center to the outside to capture some of the rough silicon carbide with the stone to pull it more towards the outside of the plate, so there's more force in the outer area where there's a higher turning velocity, so it has a better effect on grinding the stone, because in the center of the plate there's not a big turning velocity, so it would take a lot longer to actually grind it down. Now she's taking them to the sink to clean them off really well, because she has to get rid of the grinding powder, and she's using a brush and a pressure water gun to clean them off properly, so there's no remains of the rough grinding powder before she takes them to the next step. Because if there's some of the rough grinding powder still somewhere caught in a fracture or a druzy, or also just in the rough areas of the outside of the stone, and they take it to the next plate where they're being ground with a finer powder, then it might be possible that scratches will get into the stone, because there's still some of the rougher grinding powder captured in the stone. So you always have to be very, very careful with cleaning the stones to make sure there cannot happen any scratches from any of the rough grinding powder. And you can hear we are already at the next stop with the finer grinding powder now, and you can also hear it with the sound that it's already a little bit more quiet and a softer sound. And also here you can see she's doing the same process with taking the brush to the center of the plate and then taking the stone with taking the grinding powder with the stone more towards the outside of the plate where there's a higher turning velocity. Now we are finished with the second step of the grinding, which was maybe a 400 grit for the next step. So it's a lot finer powder already, but it's just to smoothen out the surface of the stone even more. And after it's been smoothened out, of course, we have to clean them very, very carefully again before we get to the next stop with an even finer powder, just to make sure again that there's not going to be any scratches. And always before the next step, you also have to hold them in the light to see with the reflection if there's any scratches that you still need to grind out, or if there's like any what we call blind spots. Yeah, all areas are evenly flat, and there's not an area that's ground a little deeper, because then it would in the end not take the same shine. Now we are in the final step before the polishing. This is a different grinding pad that's being used, and probably in a grid of maybe 800 or 1000 with silicon carbide. I'm not sure with this step if there's actually another sort of grinding powder applied to this plate, or if it is already the plate that has like a coverage with this sort of grid, so you don't have to apply loose grinding powder with this step. But yeah, you can see it's a lot more quiet again compared to the previous step, and you can also see in the reflection that it's getting a lot smoother on the surface. So we're just finishing with these 4 pieces here, and for every single grinding step they have a different machine, also to make sure that within the machine there's not any rougher grinding powders that can be caught within to put new scratches in the stone. So they're always using just a single machine for the same grinding steps, just to make sure that it cannot be polluted with any of the rougher grids to destroy the previous step. So now they're all being washed again, just to make sure that they're clean. After every step it has to be done really careful. And now we're getting to the polishing process, where Cindy is applying the very soft polishing powder on a sort of felt. So it's a really soft material actually, and you can see there's a pipe that is sucking in some of the polluted air just to the outside of the building, just to make sure it's as healthy as possible for the workers. And you can also see it's very soft material, so the fluffy parts that are next to the stone are actually parts of this polishing felt, which are coming off from the sharp edges of the stone. But that's all fine and okay. But after some while, of course, the polishing felt gets too worn out, so it has to be replaced depending on how much you're polishing and how many stones you're polishing. I would say probably once in a year, or if you're like doing a really extensive polishing every day, then you might have to do it like twice a year to exchange the polishing felt, because otherwise it gets worn out and won't do the polishing as good anymore. It's also important to use different size of stones, because if you're only using small stones, they will also carve out a little bit in the area, so you have to use some bigger stones in between as well, so it gets worn out more evenly. And here it's even more important to have a strong light, to always check on the reflections, because if you have a good reflection, then you're probably getting towards the end of the polishing process. But if the reflection is still kind of a little bit dull, then you have to continue to polish a little bit more to get the shine on these agates perfectly. And Cindy has been done with all the work now, so I'm just making a last check, and I'm always doing it like by closing one eye and checking the reflection of the stone with the other eye, just to make sure there's no scratches or any blind spots. But Cindy did a great work on these, and they already polished several thousand agates for me in their workshop, and so far I've been very happy with the results of agates I've been getting back, so I will certainly bring a lot more new agates to them as well. Alright, Cindy was really quick and finished polishing all these 4 pieces in a really good time, and they're really nice and shiny now. So I'm actually really happy with all of the 4 pieces. It doesn't usually happen that all of the pieces I cut turn out to be this good, but I wanted to get some good pieces in the video, and we were a little bit in a rush today in the morning. So I wanted to make sure that there's good pieces in the video today. And yeah, they turned out really nice. The polishing is perfect on these pieces. So Cindy was doing some really good work on them. All of them very different, but very beautiful. On the one piece where I was already mentioning here in the morning that it might have some smaller fractures, they of course got a little bit more visible now, because once you cut them directly after cutting, there's still oil in the fractures, so they're not as visible. But once they have been grinded and polished, you can see all of the fractures going on. But I would say the colors definitely outvalue the fractures in this piece, and the contrast is really nice as well. And I think I can even imagine a little bit of amethyst in the center of this piece. But I think this one's actually my favorite. But all of them really happy with. So great result, and I hope you enjoy seeing these through the entire process of cutting, grinding, polishing to get the final result of these pieces. I am very happy with all the agates and the results as well. Usually it doesn't happen that when I cut 4 agates that also all 4 of them turn out to be really nice specimens. So that was a rare occasion that all of them actually turned out good. But it was great to see for the video. And if you live in Germany and also have some agates that you want to get polished, the Schauwerkstätt'l is a great address to talk to about it. They've always been really quick with doing the polishing process as well, so I didn't have to wait for a very long time to get them polished. And yeah, I'm very happy with the service they're providing, and see you in the next video.